Well, this is the lightning talk section of the day. So we're doing these rapid changeovers, but Jake's a pro, but it also affords me a little moment to talk about this. Now, those of you who've looked in your bags and seen this and gone, "Oh, a jammy dodger." No, this is not a jammy dodger. That would no gasps from the rich tea haters over there. No, this is not a jammy dodger. Jammy dodgers don't have jam in the middle; they have glue. It's red glue in a jammy dodger. This is a jam sandwich cream. And of course, and I mean, if you'd bothered to look at the program for the day, you wouldn't have made that idiotic mistake. You would have realized immediately that yeah, winning them over, right? Idiots now. You'd have realized. I mean, I suppose you need to look at the biscuit. You need to look at this and go, okay, this biscuit has layers. It's got the base layer. It's got the cream layer. It's got the top layer. There's the jam on there. It kind of has like masking. It kind of masks that jelly part there. Also, it looks very much like a beach ball that you get on a Mac when you might do some sort of video editing. Um, am I crazy, or is this the perfect biscuit to accompany a talk about building a video compositing tool in the browser? It seems like destiny to me. And luckily we have Jake here. You know, Jake, who I'm sure you'll know from the internet, from his time at Chrome, his time at Shopify, and now his time at Firefox. He's done all sorts of things to drive the web forward, and is a wonderful voice in the community. And I know I'm going to see if I can make him cry. Let's go. 10-minute intro. And no, so we're very lucky to have him, and I know you're going to make him very, very welcome. So get nice and loud, please, for Jake Archibald.
Thank you. Ooh. All right, let's go. So, like Phil said, I used to work at Chrome, and one of the things I did there was video content. This is HTTP 203, which ran for about 8 years. Oh yeah, that's Bramis's rage face when he sees that a demo works better in Firefox than it does in Chrome, right? Yeah, great co-hosts, you know, all friends of All Day Hey. So when we were doing this, we were creating like custom like content demos, animations, that kind of thing, and like deep diving into particular APIs and weird corners of the platform. And these episodes would take quite a while to create. Like each one was like a little conference talk. But it was something I enjoyed doing. So I thought, well, when I joined Firefox, I thought, is this something that I want to do at Firefox as well? Like, would it be worth it? And I had to think of that, like, especially because at Chrome, I was one of 30+ DevRels, and at Firefox, there was just me. So I needed to optimize my time. These videos would get like, 30,000 views, and there are two ways you can choose to look at that. One is, wow, like 30,000 people are taking 20 minutes out of their day to watch my content. Like 30,000 people, that's probably more people than I will ever meet in my lifetime. That's incredible. Another way you could choose to look at it is, wait a minute, this fucking guy, he gets hundreds of thousands of views for a recording of himself reading one of my blog posts. Like I am purely jealous here. Like Theo, he does this really well. He plays the game and he plays it full time and he's really good at it. And I don't want to play that game. I don't have time. But it was a clear signal to me that like the effort to success ratio that I had with HTTP 203 wasn't right for a DevRel team of 1. And it wasn't just time that was the issue. Like even these videos that we did at Google, which is just like me and some slides, if you zoom out, there is like tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of equipment. There's a crew, there's a team of editors, and Mozilla's budget is not that. Not even close. So I thought, what can I do that's like quicker and cheaper, but still good and useful? And my conclusion was it's not long form content, but maybe short form. Like, as developers, you'll know this. Like we're under increasing amount of pressure to ship more and in less time. A lot of us are using AI, whether we like to or not. And particularly with AI, it can end up writing a lot of code for things that browsers can now do in one line of CSS or even just a bit of HTML. So I figured I'd try and make these short videos rather than going deep into a topic, just kind of like, here's a feature you might not know exists, here's what it can do, and look at MDN for the details. And so the hope is that people watching the video would go to work, they'd see some code and they go, wait, I think there's I remember hearing about a better way of doing this, and then they'd go look it up, and then they'd do it, and that would be success for me as a DevRel. I say this totally without shame. It would be videos people watch on the toilet, right? That's your bit of free time that I'm coming for. You know, it's learning on the lavvy, web standards on the shitter. Genuinely, my only worry is that if people meet me in real life, could it cause like a Pavlovian response? You know, hasn't happened so far to my knowledge. So the plan was like quick videos, right? Quick videos about a web feature, mostly stuff that's newly baseline or it's supported in multiple browsers. I created a pilot. I did this in like Adobe Premiere, I think, back in August, and it took ages to put together, and it looks shit. Like there's no nicer way to say it. It kind of looks like a hostage video. Yeah. A big part of the problem is like I know how to create layouts. I know how to programmatically format text, to animate things, to work with video, but I know how to do this stuff in the browser. I have decades of skill there and almost none in Adobe Premiere. So I thought, right, okay, I'll stick to where my skills are and I will build my own video editor in the browser. Here it is. Like it reads a little JSON format that I created, which tells it how long the video is and what should be on screen at any given time. It's not pretty, but it only has one customer, and I'm okay with it. You know, it does the job. It does the job. And when I have the content looking as I want, I hit the output video button in the corner there, and there we go. I get a video that I can upload to everywhere. I try and make myself unavoidable. I put them on every platform. But this was just being a web developer, right? There was not much novel going on here. Like I had videos, images, code, and demos, and I was just arranging them into a DOM layout. Like, I guess the most novel thing was the video stuff, because it's the video decoder API, which is sort of new, but not that new. You know, it's in all browsers. It has been for a while. And then just like, yeah, chuck those into video frames and encode them as a video file. And that's the video encoder API. Again, new-ish, but not that new. This was the bit that was eluding me for years. How do I convert some DOM content into the frame of a video? But then, late last year, a new experimental feature landed in Chrome Canary, and it was something I'd been wanting for years, and something that I'd unsuccessfully fought for when I was part of that team, but it was there now. This is some DOM content rendered into a canvas element using the new H2L in Canvas API. You are too stunned to applaud, I understand. But wait, let's push those corners back. Like, ooh, look at that. I can add some shaders to it. Look at that, there we go. It looks like an old TV now. It's cool. There's lots of stuff going on here, like, you know, noise, scan lines, like fake tracking issues, and it's all happening at 60 frames a second in the browser. It is harder to read than it was before. Like, it's not great for usability, but you wouldn't do something this extreme. This is just a silly demo, but it shows off functionality that we haven't seen before in a browser. That is, if you ignore 2012. Does anyone know what web feature I might be about to talk about? 2012. It never made it. No? Okay. CSS shaders, or CSS custom filters, as it was later renamed. This was a spec by Apple, Adobe, and Opera, and it was implemented in WebKit behind the flag, which meant it was in Chrome as well, because Chrome was a WebKit browser back then. It let you define your own CSS filters. So to achieve exactly the same effect we had before, you would do something like this. I'd say, I want a 40 by 40 mesh for this element. So 40 points across, 40 points down. And then you provide a vertex shader, like a WebGL vertex shader, to move those points around. That's how you create the curved effect. And then a fragment shader to manipulate those pixels. And that's how you create the old TV effect. And yeah, you'd be able to do this. Just, you know, like, we've got people that are really excited about the H2L in Canvas API, but we could do this stuff a decade ago, over a decade ago, back in 2012. But yeah, it never shipped. There were two main problems. First problem, I'm just going to select some text here. Here we go. And oh, that didn't work. This was one of the problems. This part's kind of broken. And the reason for this is, with CSS filters, it's just a visual effect. It's not changing anything about the shape of the element as far as the browser understands it. So in terms of hit testing, the browser is still working with the original element, and you can see how none of the text lines up. So that was creating that problem there. There was an even bigger problem, though. The web's been around for a long time, and some features come from a time before we were as strict about cross-origin security. Like you can put an image from any site onto your page. You can embed an iframe for any other page, unless they explicitly block it, but it's something they have to explicitly do to block it. Even humble hyperlink has a different color if it's a visited link, where the user has been before, and this is a kind of big leak of privacy data. So we, as browser makers, we prevent you seeing these things. Like we don't let you get at the pixels of the image. We don't let you get at the pixels of the iframe. If you ask the link what style it is, we will lie to you. If it's displaying its visited style, we'll tell you it's the non-visited style. But CSS shaders, they broke this security model. So here's a fragment shader like you would write for WebGL, but also for this CSS shaders thing. It gets to read a texture, and in the terms of CSS shaders, it was the pixels of the element itself, and then you decide what pixel to output. So this is just a pass-through case. Now, this is actually safe in terms of security because you can't send that pixel anywhere else. There's no fetch, there's no post message. So it's kind of safe, except that you can do something like this. If the color is kind of dark, do a load of pointless work. And this is observable from JavaScript. You can tell when something takes a long time to render. So you could use tricks like this to see when a link is in its visited state. You could use it to like query individual pixels of images and iframes and get at that data. They did try and patch it up, but they had to restrict the API quite a bit in order to do it. And then everyone sort of decided it's not worth it. This is not the right shape for this API. So yeah, over a decade later, here we are, we're back. HTML in Canvas, it gives us this same functionality, but overcomes these issues. Here's how it works. You have a canvas. You put some DOM inside it, and you give it this attribute, layout subtree. And this enables you to draw elements onto that canvas. So now in JavaScript, I get my context, get my 2D context, and get the element I want to draw. It has to be a child element of the canvas. So when you draw this div, it will include that h2 heading, sure, but you can't draw something that's outside the canvas, and you can't draw that h2 element on its own. It has to be a direct child of the canvas. We get this new event, this paint event on the canvas, and this fires whenever something has happened to one of the elements in the canvas that would cause its appearance to be different. So like a style change, but also an animation, a hover effect, text selection, stuff like that. And when you do that, you can draw it to the canvas just like that. And you can choose what size for it to be, what position, or you can even render a subsection of it. This is the 2D API, but there are equivalents for WebGL and WebGPU as well. Yeah, so the element itself is exposed to the accessibility tree. So this is great, because this is all automatically more accessible than a lot of Canvas content out there, because it's getting the actual HTML. It doesn't have the same security issues, and the way it overcomes this is it just will not draw things you're not allowed to see. So visited links styles don't work. It won't let you draw an image from another origin. It won't let you draw an iframe from another origin. At Mozilla, we've been working on this API along with Google. One of the things we're pushing for is more fingerprinting protection here as well, because we don't want it to leak things about your system that you wouldn't otherwise be able to figure out. As for hit testing, it's kind of simple and therefore good. Clicks on the canvas will just go through to the elements themselves wherever they are positioned in terms of CSS. And that will be a bad experience if the CSS positioning doesn't equal up to where you drew it on the canvas. But so you just have to make sure those things are the same. And this API does help you here. It will return a transform. There we go. And because it knows where it just drew it on the canvas, so it will give you a transform that you can then apply to the elements that will put the element in the same place. And therefore, yeah, text selection just works. So yeah, I'm using the WebGL version here. This is 3JS to create the 3D shape, and a fragment shader to do the old TV effect. But watch this. This is fun. Where's my pointer? Here we go. Text selection. Hey! On a curve. Look at that. Whee! So I did quite a hack here, and I'm very proud of myself. So because like this is a curve, this can't be represented by a CSS transform. So I came up with a hack. 3JS has a thing called a raycaster, which helps you figure out, well, it's mainly for, well, what I'm doing here is figuring out what's under the mouse pointer in terms of the 3D object and the position on the 3D object. So I'm using this to line up the real element dynamically. So here we go, I've overlaid the real element again, and you can see as I move the mouse, it moves around. So as I hover over Kimmy here, you can see it line up with the 3D object underneath, and same when I go to Senna and Jesse. So as I'm selecting text on a curve, I'm not actually selecting text on the curve. You're selecting text on a line. The whole thing is faked. Isn't that fun? Isn't that good fun? So yeah, pure illusion, but it does work. Like this is a dumb demo that I made, right? Just as part of, I actually did it for prototyping this text selection thing to see if we needed more API around it, and I don't think we do. Other people have done cooler things with this API. This is Zolt Caxo, I'm going to guess on the pronunciation. Sorry if that's wrong. Where's the side menu? Here it is. Let's go have a look. Oh, you're going to peek behind the curtain. Isn't that lovely? Zolt did another demo. This is my favorite. Look at this. This is so nice. And like text selection still works and hover effects and everything. Really, really satisfying. This one by Felix Turner. It's GitHub. There you go. But oh no. Oh dear. Oh, it's the average GitHub experience these days. Like, I was a Flash developer for a little bit, and seeing this stuff makes me really excited about the creativity on the web, because I feel we lost a little bit with Flash going, and this is kind of bringing it back multiplied. So I'm really excited about this. Some of my colleagues at Firefox are less sure about this API, so we're having debates about it. We have been helping out with the API, but we're kind of unsure about it. Where's Keith Circle? Where are you? Hello, there you go. He's one of the people who's unconvinced, so you can go and argue with him. It's okay as well. Like Keith also feels like if he talks to enough developers at this event, he can justify expensing the hotel to Mozilla. So do talk to him. But yeah, it's fair to say that these demos aren't improving the usability of the platform, right? And people will use it for, even the demos I've seen people create, not these ones, but some other ones, and I've just been like, well, you could do that today just with a canvas on top of some HTML. You don't need this new API for it. But I think we'll see some positive use of it as well. Like my use case, I didn't need 3D. I didn't need fragment shaders. I just wanted that. I just wanted those pixels. It solved this part for me. This was the bit. The thing I wanted for years became just this, because the video encoder API already could take a canvas. The missing bit was DOM in that canvas. Yeah, it's amazing to me. Like, rather than have to pay for a pricey subscription to a video editor that I don't know how to use, I can lean on my web developer skills and create my own video editor for a very particular kind of video, and that unlocks it for me that I can create these videos as a team of one on a tight time and money budget. Yeah, this stuff amazes me. I love how far the platform has come. I got into the web in the late 90s because of ViewSource. You know, that's where I started, that low barrier to entry. But what made me fall in love with the web is the community and this culture we have of sharing knowledge, right? Like from the whimsical demos that I showed before to the practical tools and libraries that I leaned on to build this app. Yeah, so with that, I am going to go and sit over there, and I am going to enjoy the last afternoon of the last all-day hay, and I hope you do too. Thank you very much.